Hello, welcome to another edition of Fruity Sports, your number one analysis show, the freelance show. Today with me is Mr. Jude Gray. Jude, shout out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Without wasting much time, we will delve straight into the matters for today. Before we go on, kindly hit the like and subscribe button down there and then click on the notification button so that anytime we make new content, they are delivered to you via notification. Without much ado, today we are going to look at Mesut Ozil and whether Arsenal, and for that matter, Mikel Arteta, has been fair to him. He took to Instagram to post a message. And then let me share the message with our viewers so they can also see what he posted. Yes, and I'll read the message quickly. It was an Instagram post. It says, "This is a difficult message to write to the Arsenal fans that I've played for over the past few years. I'm really deeply disappointed by the fact that I've not been registered for the Premier League season. For the time being, upon signing my new contract in 2018, I pledged my loyalty and allegiance to the club that I love, Arsenal. And it saddens me that this has not been reciprocated. As I have just found out, loyalty is hard to come by nowadays. I've always tried to remain positive from week to week that there may be a chance to get back in the squad soon again. That's why I kept silent so far. Before the coronavirus break, I was really happy with the development under our new coach, Mikel Arteta. We've been on a positive way, and I would say my performances were on a really good level. But then things changed again, and I was no longer allowed to play football for Arsenal. What else can I say? London still feels like home. I still have many good friends in this team, and I still feel a strong connection with the fans of this club. No matter what, I'll keep fighting for my chance and not let my 8th season at Arsenal end like this. I can promise you that this hard decision won't change anything in my mindset. I will continue to train as best as I can and wherever possible, use my voice against inhumanity and for justice." So, Jukre, I checked and it looked like under Mikel Arteta, Mesut Ozil has played 12 times. It looks like almost all the time he came from the bench, scoring 1 and assisting 1. Do you think he has been given enough chances to prove himself and that he has not lived up to expectation? And then is Mikel Arteta right to omit him?
Okay, so let's try and put everything in perspective and let our viewers and all those listening to us know how things have degenerated between Arsenal and Mesut Ozil to this point where he's no longer included into the Premier League squad for the 2021 season. All these began, if we cast our minds by post-COVID, before COVID, when Arteta took over, his first 10 matches actually Ozil played. And when you read Ozil's own post on Instagram, you will get the sense of it, that he was performing at a very good level, right?
Yeah.
But what led to these points was in the course of COVID, before COVID, in the course of COVID, there are 2 critical incidents that happened between Ozil and Arsenal. One was the mistreatment of alleged mistreatment of Muslims in China, which Ozil came and spoke against.
Yeah.
When he spoke against, because of commercial reasons, Arsenal had to distance themselves from his comments. However, it didn't stop the Chinese government from, it didn't stop Arsenal from losing commercially from the Chinese market, because then the Chinese had to react, right?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Ozil is a staunch Muslim. So he could not stand by. So if you read his comment on Instagram carefully, you see that at the last part, he said that he would try his best as possible, but he cannot stand aside in acts of inhumanity. And that's exactly what he was talking about. Yes. So he's still trying, Ozil is still adamant that if he has to speak out, and that will cost him from playing football, he will still speak out against alleged acts of inhumanity.
Yeah.
Yes. So there were Muslims allegedly being taken to concentration camp in one of the provinces in China, forcing them to drink, forcing them to eat meat that they are not supposed, Muslims, they don't take pork. They were forcing them, they were trying to reprogram their minds and so on. Right. Several human rights organizations spoke against it. Several world countries also spoke against it. And when Ozil added his voice to it, there was a kind of a backlash on Arsenal from the Chinese market. And you know that when it comes to commercial, when it comes to football and the likes, the Chinese government really has influence, or should I say the Chinese market. Now, apart from that, during COVID, players were asked for a pay cut. And remember, Ozil is the player that takes the highest before, I think, Aubameyang had to sign recently. I think Ozil takes around 350,000 K a week. And for Arsenal to be able to pay some of their workers, there was the need for players to take pay cuts. And that was something common during this COVID era across major European teams where players had to take pay cuts. But when Ozil was contacted, Ozil wanted to know exactly why he would take the pay cut. Because to him, he felt that it's better for him to take his money and then send it to the help frontline workers directly, rather than Arsenal as a corporate entity that he sees that is already wealthy, taking money from him. He didn't see it as a just cause. And anybody who knows Ozil well, that's why I said we should give background. Ozil is very opinionated. When he has an opinion, when he believes in something, he stands by it. If we know how he had to end up not playing for Germany again, the way it ended, we all know how it went. When they went to the 2018 World Cup and it didn't go on well, and then he was sort of black sheep, and the Germans started talking against him, his performance at the World Cup. And he said that they were only doing so because he was a Turkish German. Because it wasn't only he who went. You understand? So he didn't understand why. Right.
When apparently I didn't want to meet the Turkish, I think, president or prime minister or something. And then they brought.
Exactly. So when it was his wedding, actually, the Turkish president was his best man, Erdogan. And when you know how Erdogan even became the Turkish president, some credit goes to Ozil. Ozil had to organize. Apparently, Ozil is a very popular figure in Turkey.
So right. he had to ride behind Ozil's popularity. He had to use Ozil's popularity to win the election.
And so even though Ozil is a dying man,
Yeah, Jude. Yeah, continue. Viewers, sorry, it looks like we've lost the audio feed from Jude Gray. Yo, can you hear me, Jude? I can't hear you. Viewers, sorry. I'll reconnect Jude and then we'll try again. So like he was saying, Mesut Ozil was their man shaft. They used him as a scapegoat. And then he was ousted from the national team because they had a poor performance at the World Cup and then they singled him out. And that's the scapegoat. So he spoke against it and then he was ousted from the German national team. Yeah, we have.
Sorry about that.
You yes. Again.
So like I was saying, all this shows that when Ozil is convinced and convicted about a certain topic, he does not care about. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
He does not care about the consequences, I guess.
Yes, Ozil does not care about the consequences that comes with football when it comes to him voicing his opinion and what he's convinced and convicted that it is right to do. Yeah. So the issue at Arsenal actually is not about footballing reasons. And I don't even think the decision is taken by Mikel Arteta. It's beyond footballing reasons. And I think that the decisions come from way from above. Right. So basically that's the reason why Ozil is not part of it. Because quality-wise, when it comes to the creative force in Arsenal, now they would have to rely on Dani Ceballos.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is there any creative player, no matter how Ozil has dipped in form in the Arsenal setup, there is no creative player from central attacking midfield as a playmaker better than Mesut Ozil in this Arsenal setup. So it clearly tells you that this particular decision to sideline him from the Premier League squad is as a direct punishment for his stance on first voicing out inhumanity or inhumane treatment of Muslims, ethnic Muslims in China, and also his stance on not taking a pay cut, but rather wanting to donate to frontline workers in the fight against COVID. Then again comes this also issue. You see, critically, he mentioned his 8th season. Ozil, in extending his contract and signing his contract, signed a loyalty bonus that if he stays in Arsenal for 8 seasons, they will pay him, I think, £8 million in addition. So Ozil is entitled to an £8 million payment this season, whether he plays or not. So attempts to also try and ship him out to avoid paying this money in this COVID era didn't materialize. He was adamant he would rather stay and take his money. So basically, that's the background behind the Ozil's exclusion. It has nothing to do with his ability to play football. Because like I said, when Mikel Arteta first took over, Ozil was an integral part of the team. He played in the first 10 matches. He performed very well. And if you read his statement very well, he even mentioned it right there, that things started well under Arteta. But it was when football went to a halt, the events that happened from that time onwards is what has led us to this point.
Well, viewers, that's the background for you. So we don't know whether going forward this decision is going to hurt Arsenal as a team or they are going to benefit from it. Watch as it unfolds. Anyway, next on the agenda, we are going to look at the UEFA Champions League results. It just ended match day 1. I'll share my screen and then Jude will go through them one after the other. Yeah, I don't know whether there were shocks for you or maybe there were results where you anticipated already. So on the screen, we have Zenit at home. They lost to Club Brugge, match of equals, I guess.
Yes, I think that was one of the matches that was in the balance.
Yeah.
But then we tipped, for the fact that Zenit was playing at home, we tipped that their worst would be a draw, but they couldn't manage that. They made the team from Belgium came to Zenit in Russia. They saw and conquered. And I think they have to get their acts together, because looking at the group they are in, uh, those two teams, if you take points off each other, you stand a good chance, because the other team you face next is going to be a tall order. So too bad Zenit lost. Not really surprising, but then they went against what was on paper.
Dynamo Kiev Juventus.
Dynamo Kiev Juventus, like I said, I didn't really trust Juventus much when it comes to away games in the UCL, scoring a lot of goals. So I remember telling Panthers that Juve will win. The worst for Juve will be a draw, but they shouldn't look at anything above 2.5 goals. And I think that it came to as I predicted, especially with Cristiano Ronaldo not playing. We knew that goals would not come in rampant rapidity. But kudos to Alvaro Morata, who grabbed a brace in that game. I think so far so good for him. Moving to Juve is really been coming forth, especially in the absence of Cristiano.
Selling top-notch striker to Chelsea. One would have thought that RB Leipzig would be suffering, but I think they beat. I mean, to be fair, Istanbul Basaksehir isn't a strong opponent, but at least they dispatched them coolly, 2-0 at home. Any thought on that?
Yes, that's true. Because one thing about Julian Nagelsmann team is that it's a well-oiled team, and it's a teamwork and a team effort, right? So yes, they lost their Leeds Maxman, but I think much of the machine is still there, and it's not a fluke, because quite frankly, they are leading the German Bundesliga as we speak, ahead of Bayern Munich. Right. And like I said, this was going to be a game of goals, where they are going to score over 2.5, and it came through. Too bad the other team, Basaksehir Istanbul, couldn't get a goal, but then Leipzig did the job. They scored all three.
That's fine. We'll skip Rennes and Krasnodar, because that one actually, not really of importance. Lazio Dortmund. Charlie, I was shocked, even that Lazio were thumped.
I'm telling you, it was the shocker. It was one of the shocks of the midweek in European football, because Lazio didn't really start well in the Serie A, and Dortmund started quite well in the Bundesliga. So we're thinking, or views were that they would go to Rome and try and do something, but under 30, 40 minutes, I think Lazio had already sealed the game. Some passion, playing some scintillating football.
Yeah.
That was, I think, so it was one of the surprising moments. But then again, if you knew what Lazio did last season, it's just unfortunate they did not translate that from the beginning of this season. But hopefully this will probably be a propelling point that will propel them to let us see what they did last season. And I think they showed us glimpses of last season, what they actually did. And should they continue, they'll pick up the pieces from where they left off, and also show a very good form in the season.
Okay, that's fine. One game that really disappointed pundits and investors alike. They played the game as if nobody wanted to win. Nobody wanted to take a chance. They were just playing. Everybody was playing not to lose. I mean, Chelsea and Sevilla, 0-0. Your thoughts?
I remember saying very well that it's difficult to score against Sevilla. And I mentioned the fact that even with the attacking prowess of Bayern Munich, we also have they suffered scoring against them. And we shouldn't take their results over the weekend against Granada as something to say that they have lost color, because I also explained that they were coming from international break. There was Champions League, they had to rest players and so on and so forth. So I knew they had defensive solidity, even though they were losing Jules Koundé, Sevilla couldn't score Chelsea, given the Chelsea backline, their defensive frailties. But then good signs for Chelsea, though. They were able to keep a clean sheet against
yes,
a Seville, against the top side, a Seville team. And I think that that will be good momentum and good confidence for their backline as they prepare to play Manchester this week.
Okay. Another disappointing team, PSG. An embarrassment of a team. Anyway, they lost at home to this Manchester United.
Exactly. And I think here, our viewers, I would have to eat humble pie, because I remember saying, no matter the team that PSG will present, it will be better than the best team Manchester United will present. But it didn't come so. PSG couldn't revenge, and it was a repeat for Manchester United. And I think Manchester United fans should be happy with what they saw and the performances put up by Bruno Fernandes and Rashford especially. That winning goal was very scintillating, and PSG didn't come good. At least we know that they do well during group stages, but they've started on a bad foot, and they have work to do. But still, they will qualify in this group, because I think they have what it takes.
They have enough. Yeah. The other one, Barcelona Ferencváros. I mean, we said it was going to be a cool and easy dispatch for them, and truly, they dispatched them cleanly. Your thoughts on that? Yeah, as I was saying, yes, Barcelona dispatched Ferencváros easily. I mean, we didn't expect anything else. 5-1, an emphatic win for Barcelona. Anyway, we'll move on. When Jude rejoins, we'll take his view on that one. Salzburg played against Lokomotiv. I think it was a game of equals at 2-2. That's not bad. That's okay. And then Real Madrid at home to Shakhtar Donetsk. Another disappointing and shocker. But actually, they did well in the second half. They fought their way back and then pulled 2 back as consolation. So, yes, we have Jude again. I was talking about Barcelona easily dispatching Ferencváros. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing new to be said there. We said that Asa should win handsomely to make critics know that the result against Getafe was just a flash in the pan. And we also spoke about Messi playing very well to also make critics know that it's not as though his heart is not in the team. And I think that even though people were expecting for him to score more than a goal, but I think his performance overall was good. He scored, he gave 2 assists, and his total performance on the field of play, it goes to show what he said, and I said that last week, that he's now less obsessed with scoring. He's rather obsessed now with the general performance of the team. And you could see from the way he played, especially the goal he set up for Dembele. I think Messi could have scored that goal. He pulled it on his right, he could have triggered it, but hey, he decided for the good of the team, Dembele needs confidence.
Yes.
Let him set him up so that he can also score and boost his confidence. And I think it was a good thing to see Dembele coming off the bench, coming to give an assist, playing the way he did, and adding a goal to it. I think that there's no news there. But then the first half, I think Fadi really proved stubborn. They were playing quite well, but at the end of the day, class over form.
Yeah. We will skip Salzburg and Lokomotiv Moscow. Nothing really there. And then I think for me, the biggest shocker of the week, Real Madrid losing at home to Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
Yes, it's very true. It was a big shocker because there is no excuse whatsoever for the loss for Real Madrid, because people will argue that Zidane actually benched 7 of the starters. But benching 7 of the starters against a Shakhtar Donetsk side who have 13 players of their first team testing positive
for
for
COVID.
and not making it
Traveling, and still you're playing at home too.
Exactly, coming to Santiago Bernabeu and playing the way they did, scoring 3 unanswered goals in the first half. Madrid tried to show some character when they started bringing in some of their starters, but then it was too little, too late. And then it goes again to tell us, I think in the last 8 or 9 matches that Real Madrid have played without their talisman, Sergio Ramos, they've lost 7. So it goes to tell you that whenever they don't have Sergio Ramos playing at the back, Real Madrid actually really have problems trying to prevent goals from scoring. They mostly end up losing. And I hope and really hope for the sake of El Clasico, for the sake that fans will enjoy the game and it will not be a one corner thing or one-sided match, Ramos will be fit enough to feature in the game. Else, we are going to put Madrid in a case where people will start thinking that there is crisis because they lost to Cadiz at home.
Yeah.
Yes, and that Cadiz viewers, yes, Cadiz viewers are as a team that just came from relegation. Coming, yes, they are not playing at the Santiago Bernabeu, but still they are playing at home. They are playing in their training on their training pitch or their youth side pitch, the Castilla team. They went there, they scored them, and you sat at home again. Shakhtar Donetsk came and scored in the Champions League. With Real Madrid's pedigree in the Champions League, it was highly unacceptable. But Zidane has come to give assurances that he has what it takes to turn the situation around. And then the players themselves have also come and said that they are committed to trying to turn situations around. And I think that Real Madrid may pick up the pieces, but my advice to Real Madrid fans and football fans alike is that if Barca should beat Real Madrid at the Estadio Camp Nou, it shouldn't raise eyebrows, right? It shouldn't mean that they are a team in crisis because Real Madrid in their best of form, El Clasico is a different animal altogether. Like we say in Ghana when Accra, Suffolk, and Kotoko plays, it's not a game for who is on form. It's a game for whoever shows up in the day. So I think we can excuse Real Madrid, whatever the results may be this coming El Clasico. But if they are able to take a point or they are able to even win, it will go a long way to help them in recovering from where they are.
That's fine. Ajax at home, they lost to Liverpool 1-0. From the beginning, Liverpool was struggling, especially in the first half, but it is accepted because they were playing one defensive midfielder against one centre back who has been in very poor form lately in the shape of Joe Gomez. It was Fabinho playing alongside Joe Gomez. The first half, they looked very shaky, but the second half, they were able to tighten things up a bit and maybe got away with an easy goal or a gifted goal.
I think this will be a very disappointing result for Ajax, given the circumstances that we are talking about. But I mentioned it last week that Ajax in the Champions League, especially for the past 2 seasons, are not a team that really does well at home, but they do well when they go away. And if you check their results across, you see that they usually did most of their thing away from home. I don't know what is at home for the past 2 seasons that they cannot seem to prosecute their matches as they do away. And I am saying they'll be disappointed because when you watched Liverpool, it was as if psychologically they were not in the game. And it was quite understandable because they were trying to still come into terms with losing Virgil van Dijk and Thiago Alcantara, especially Virgil van Dijk, whose season may be over altogether. And you could see that playing in their mind. So they didn't give up their best.
Yeah.
It wasn't a vintage Liverpool performance.
Yeah,
And secondly, exactly. And secondly, they took off all three of their attacking prowess early in the second half. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you are playing against a Liverpool side who have taken out Mane, Salah, Firmino around 60th minute, you still have like 30 minutes to try and do something. But Ajax couldn't. Yes, some were due to lack of luck, because I think they hit the pole along the line and had some decent chances that they could have converted to either pull parity, right? But at the end of the day, in totality, Ajax will be very disappointed. In fact, it was not an even interesting game to watch at some point.
Yeah. So, Manchester City against Porto. I mean, when the game started, they had an early scare, a bit of an early scare from Porto. But I mean, the penalty for me was a bit controversial too. But I mean, at the end of the day, they showed class and then they won by 3-1.
Yeah. Like I said that last time we were here, City and PSG are teams that do well in the group stages. Unfortunately, PSG couldn't continue, but then City just showed it. When it comes to group stage matches, they do well, and they took a lot of character coming back from behind and netting 3 to prosecute 3-1. I think it wasn't surprising. What would have been surprising was if they had lost or drawn the match. So kudos to Pep Guardiola and his charges for prosecuting Porto, at the Etihad.
Moving on, Atalanta, no respecter of big boys. They went away, even though Midtjylland isn't a big boy, but at least they beat them convincingly at their own backyard. Atalanta 4, Midtjylland 0.
Yeah. I think Atalanta are one of the darling boys for Panthers when it comes to goals. Because any match Atalanta is involved in, you are sure that they're more likely to be more goals. And we said it, Atalanta will go and play like nothing is at stake. So I am itching to watch Atalanta versus Liverpool, Atalanta versus Ajax, because it's going to be a very, very interesting encounter. It's something you will love to watch, because definitely there are going to be goals. There's going to be circulating football. And beating Midtjylland, I think Midtjylland will probably be the referring boys in the group. So, and it has started. You are welcome to the Champions League with a baptism of fire.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll skip Olympiacos, Marseille, and go to Bayern Atletico. No, I want to reserve that for the last. Inter Milan playing at home to Mönchengladbach. They couldn't beat Mönchengladbach. 2-2 draw. Thought on that? I remember you said Antonio Conte doesn't do well in the Champions League.
I said it, and it came to they even had to come from behind to equalize at the death to secure a draw when you are playing at the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza at your own backyard against Mönchengladbach. Yeah, Mönchengladbach are a distant side, but given the quality of material, the squad in there that Inter Milan do have, and given the clout of Conte, it's quite surprising Conte really hasn't figured out how to play in the Champions League. And I think it's about time Conte had to look back and check his methods again. His 3-back or 5-back, depending on the phase of the game you are watching. I think he has to look at it again and try to add something new, because he's been figured out. Everybody knows that when you are playing Conte, it's coming to start with a 3-back. It's quite surprising. Look, Inter Milan has as many as 9 wing backs in their team. How do you build it? I'm not talking about defenders or wing backs alone. Players that play as the wing backs, they have 9. How do you build a team with wing backs?
Poor balance.
And then no balance. And then you have midfielders that are, excuse me to say, they are good. I mean, when you see their names, they sound good. But these are old players who are heading towards the twilight of their careers that are playing for Inter Milan. So I wasn't surprised, because like I said, Inter Milan will always flatter to deceive. They were tipped as one of the teams that would contend Juventus last season and this season. And last season, they couldn't live up to the billing. This season, they haven't started well at all. And then in the Champions League, it's whole story happening all over again. Deja vu in Milan.
Last on the day, we have Bayern easily dispatching this troublesome Atletico Madrid. I honestly didn't watch the match and I don't know what happened, but Charlie, I was shocked the scoreline. Anyway, a thought on that?
Yes, I think the scoreline was a bit shocking. Not really shocking, but it's shocking because not because it's Bayern, but because it's Atletico Madrid,
yes.
a team that always prided themselves in their ability to defend. Couldn't defend against them. Took in 4 goals, shipped in 4 goals actually. Right, but it talks about how impressive Bayern are, their attacking abilities, and their ability to finish out and see off games and see off opponents that everyone thinks that will be a challenge. They dismiss them easily, right? So Atletico will be disappointed because they did actually have chances. And quite frankly, I think Atletico would have to look at some of the matches and who they start up front. Because when you are playing a Bayern Munich, yes, Suarez is a class act. We all know his quality. He's a potent finisher should he get the chance. We all know that. But Suarez is no longer the Suarez we knew, especially when it comes to pace.
Yes, yeah.
And you are playing a Bayern Munich side that have pacey defenders, right? And who also attack. I mean, the defenders play a very high line.
Yeah.
So which means then that you need pacey forwards who will keep them thinking twice. But anytime Suarez got ahead, even the likes of Nicolas Sula, who isn't the fastest defenders amongst the Bayern backline, could recover.
Able to catch up, yes.
And it was so appalling to see because Suarez was basically sprinting at a snail pace. I think Simeone should have given Diego Costa the chance. When they are playing against teams that would attack them, he has to take a look at who's stacked. But if they are playing against teams that they will attack, Suarez is your best.
Yeah.
Because then
when you create a chance, they will score.
Team will be defending, and Suarez with his movement between behind the lines and behind the 8-yard box. Because they've been pressed so far, he's virtually at the center line, and you need him to use the space. So if you realize the best players on the day for Atletico Madrid was Yannick Carrasco, Lodi, and to some extent Llorente and the English guy who plays right back, Kieran Trippier, right? Because of their pace and all that, they were causing some sort of problem. So if you saw the chances that Atletico Madrid scored, it came through them actually. So it was very disappointing for Atletico to concede 4 goals, very disappointing. But then kudos to Bayern Munich. They started their title defense quite well, and they are telling people that, hey, we are still around. We can still hurt you. We can still win the Champions League. So don't take things for granted.
That fits right into my next question. So it looks like they are on course to defend the title then, at least given how they've started. Because I think Alphonso Davies was benched, right?
Yes, he was.
Hernandez, and yet they were able to dispatch Atletico coolly. Charlie, means their squad is very deep. Anyway, that's
yes. Let's add that Serge Gnabry tested positive for COVID. So Serge Gnabry wasn't also part of the team, right? And we know Serge Gnabry from last season, the goals he contributes, the assists he gives, the chances he creates. He's a pivot and a focal part of the Bayern Munich team. And he didn't even play, and they still managed to win 4-0, right? Leroy Sané is out, injured as well. So Bayern really have a lot of quality they didn't even put to bear on the day, right? and still managed to beat a world-class side at Atletico Madrid. Like they were playing against a Bundesliga second-tier side. They dispatched them with pretty ease and cheeky ease. Right. So yes, they look favorites, right? But I would say let's also err on the side of caution because it's just one match, and with COVID still there, sidelining players and all that. Let's give it time and see. But yes, so far they look as favorites and they can defend their Champions League. But let's err on the side of caution and see how the other matches progress as time goes on. But definitely they should make it out of their group. They and Atletico Madrid, they'll make it out of their group. So we'll see how it progresses when we reach the stages.
And that brings me to my last question on the UCL. Who is your team of the week? I mean, not by squad, but by the performance. Which team will you pick as this was the best team for the week? I'm tempted to go with Shakhtar Donetsk because they did not only just win, they actually dominated in larger parts of the game. It could have been like 6 goals. They could have scored like 6. Shakhtar Donetsk. They really dominated, especially in the first half. They could have scored more, but they were a bit wasteful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you any better. I think Shakhtar pulled the surprise, and given their circumstance, I think Shakhtar is the team of the week, or they are in contention of being spoken of as the team of the week. Not many teams under these circumstances will go to Real Madrid's backyard and go and score as many as 3 goals and come out with the 3 points in Champions League, right? Because we are talking about the team with pedigree in the Champions League. But I think other contenders team of the week will also be Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. Because this is their first Champions League, their second Champions League in a while, and they are beginning to show that yes, we should look at them. Right. So between Atlanta and Shakhtar Donetsk, I think these are the contenders. I think everyone expected Bayern to win. The only surprising thing was that the scoreline they won. That was it. And I think maybe Lazio too are in contention because no one gave them a dog's chance against Dortmund, even though they were playing at home. Many pundits thought that Dortmund, given the form they started the season with, and Lazio, given the form they've also started the season with, they were going to capitulate at home to Dortmund. But then they managed to prosecute Dortmund and prosecute them convincingly. Right. So my team of the week actually is Shakhtar, like you have said, and then contenders may be Lazio and Atalanta.
Okay, that's interesting. We move on to the next section, Europa results. We'll just run through quickly because most of the results are not really important. Mostly we saw the goal that we. The few shocks actually were Napoli losing at home. Napoli losing at home to AZ Alkmaar, and then Rangers also winning away 2-0. I mean, they haven't been in such good form, but it looks like they are learning. Then Leverkusen beating Nice, OGC Nice 6-2. That's interesting. They didn't have any red card or anything, but actually. And then at least Arsenal had a very poor start, but they were able to recover. Your thoughts overall?
I think my thoughts overall is, like you said, barring the AZ Alkmaar Napoli match, that was a very surprising result. They shocked everybody. Every pundit expected Napoli to prosecute AZ Alkmaar in Naples, but Napoli couldn't show up in the party. They couldn't score a goal. They were shell-shocked. It was an abysmal performance by Napoli, disappointing a lot of pundits and making pundits eat apple pie. But that having been said, kudos to AZ Alkmaar. because there's not many teams that will go to Naples. Liverpool have been there. They've tried on 2 or 3 different occasions. And they came back to Merseyside with 0 points. They had nothing in the back to offer. Last season, they went there, chalked 2 goals, I think, or was it last 2 seasons? They went there and lost 2 clear goals. So it is not an easy thing for Akma to achieve, but Akma did achieve it. But then let's know that Napoli were the team that had their 3 points being deducted when they failed to play with Juventus.
Yes, because they had a number of their players. Yes, because they have a number of their players testing positive.
Yes, exactly. So let's not also forget that Napoli are also suffering from this COVID canker. So yes, we can excuse them for that result. It was a shocking one. Arsenal showed character, and I think that they are beginning to show under Arteta things that Arsenal didn't used to show. Arsenal were the type that were not mentally fortified. They easily lose games mentally. They don't show the character and all those things. But even in games they lose under Mikel Arteta, you see the mental fortitude, you see the character in Arsenal. And it came to the fore when they played in the Europa. Having gone down 1-0, they came back, picked up the pieces. They didn't start well. They picked up the pieces. And Thomas Partey gave them a lot of balance to create go forward. He gave really incisive and decisive passes, really contributed to the game of Arsenal, and they came from behind to win the match. I think pretty much Leverkusen winning 6-2, yes, is the scoreline, but then again, we all expected Leverkusen to win that game. It's only the scoreline that raises an eyebrow. I think Granada are showing that they beating Sevilla wasn't a fluke. I think they went away to play PSV Eindhoven also. Yes, and managed to go to Holland and pep them 2-1. It really shows them that they beating Sevilla over the weekend 1-0 at home wasn't fluke, but they are a team, they are a dark horse that you have to keep an you may have to keep an eye on, who may try and prove stubborn this Europa League season. I think overall, most of the results were.
One question. I mean, we know that Celtic playing at home to AC Milan could have gone either way, but this AC Milan looks like a new, rejuvenated side. Interestingly, they went away and beat Celtic 3-1.
Yes, and I think that AC Milan actually have continued from where they left off last season. Last season, yes, they didn't start well, but after January, they brought in, I think, Zlatan Ibrahimovic did some reinforcements, and they really played good football. I think after the COVID season, AC Milan was the team that picked a lot of points in the Serie A. I think they didn't even lose a match after the COVID. The COVID break, after the COVID break. And I think they carried on from that form they left off, and it has given them the momentum to enter this season playing very well. They are currently topping the Serie A table. They have lost a match. I think they've won all 4 of their matches. They have played Inter Milan. So it wasn't as though they played Mino size. They played Inter Milan, beat Inter 2-1. Thanks to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and then they went to Celtic and went and affirmed that yes, there is no fluke. Hey, AC Milan may be back, and it will be very happy for football fans to see AC Milan, because when AC Milan comes back to where we all know AC Milan to be, don't forget that they are the second team that have won the most Champions League, having won 7. So they have a lot of pedigree in Europe. They're a very good side, but hey, things went south, and we are praying and hoping that we have our AC Milan back. So far, so good. They are showing signs of it. We just hope they can carry on till the end.
So my last one on that bit, Thomas Partey. I mean, people have been expressing concern when Partey plays for any of his club sides, Charlie, you can see the guy. But when it comes to the national team, I don't know what's in the national team. I mean, he started in the national team actually very well, scoring and assisting a lot in the national team when they grafted him into the national team from the beginning. But of late, Charlie, his performances in the national team has been very abysmal. And people are expressing concern over his form in the national team because we know what he's capable of doing. What he's producing that day in, day out at the club side. What is wrong with that guy?
Thomas Partey. Sometimes you see football is very interesting, and sometimes, especially for African footballers, when they have especially had lucrative contracts and they've gone and they are playing at the top flight of football, when they come back home, given the conditions that we play under, they tend not to put their all in the game because at the end of the day, what gives them money is not the national team. That's not to say they are not patriotic enough, but then they come all the way here to play because of patriotism. But when they are playing psychologically, you have your mind where your money is, because that's where you get the bucks, right? So sometimes you tend to see that, especially when the matches are friendly matches and there's nothing at stake, right? But if it's the African Cup of Nations, World Cup, you tend to see them play real good football then. See them put their all because that's what matters most. But when they are playing these friendly matches and sometimes qualifiers, after they think that they have it in the bag, they tend to relax. They tend to play that thing they're not giving out their best. But let's not same thing that surround them here. Even the roles given them there may not be the same because in Ghana sometimes it's difficult to know where Partey plays. Sometimes he's being used as a number 10. Sometimes he's being used as a box-to-box midfielder. Sometimes he's being used as a defensive midfielder. Yes, we know he can play all those positions, but you cannot consistently put your finger on a position that Partey plays for Ghana.
Yeah, very true.
Understand? And then our pitch conditions. Yes, people argue, but this is where they started. Yes, this is where they started, but they are now used to something else.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, the texture of the pitch, how hard it is on our pitches here. We do not water it often enough, very dry, and all those things. It sometimes becomes difficult for you to be able to control a ball. You have to make sure your eyes are fixed on the ball, because the moment you take your eyes off the ball, you'll be disgraced. the pitch will actually dribble you. You understand? Whereas out there, when you give them a pass, they are not looking at the ball. They are rather looking at where they will or what they will do with the ball, because they trust that the ball will land at their feet. And then I spoke about the quality. When you are playing with quality players around you, playing becomes easy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, excuse me to say, yes, we have quality players in the Black Stars, but sometimes you cannot compare the quality that surrounds him in the Black Stars compared to the quality that was surrounding him, especially at Atletico Madrid.
Very true.
Yes, so that allows him to play very well. That allows him to play good because he knows very well there is quality there. There is quality to assist him and all that. And likewise, in Arsenal, it's early days yet. We saw glimpses of him against Manchester City. And then just in this Europa, he came and did a good show. I'm itching to see his next 2-3 matches and see how good he is. But already, you know, English media, they started comparing him to Patrick Vieira, and I'm just hoping it doesn't get into his head.
Yes.
Because this same English media will start comparing you to others, and at the end of the day, they will hang you when things don't go well for you.
Yeah, very, very true. So anyway, that's fine. We move on. Now we are going to look at the European leagues. I mean, we are coming to preview and then probably give some predictions for investors to also go and invest we gain multiple streams of income. Then from there, we are going to look at FPL, this Fantasy Premier League. We just give a short prediction, maybe of picks, maybe a goalkeeper to look at, maybe 3 defenders to keep an eye on, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers to keep an eye on. So without much ado, I'll delve straight into the league, French league, Ligue 1. Let me quickly share the screen so viewers can also follow the fixtures as we predict along. Yeah. Match day 8, Ligue 1. Rennes and here will skip all those. Lorient, Marseille. I think Marseille lost the Europa, right?
Yeah.
PSG, this one should be easy for them. At least they are coming back as wounded lions. Any prediction?
I think PSG should see off Dion, and they should do so convincingly in order to bring back confidence themselves and to their fans. Yes, Marseille have been quite dodgy, so it's very difficult because their away games they've been drawing. You say that Lorient is not a very good side or isn't a side to worry Marseille. But then again, when you look at this Marseille side, this same Marseille side went away to Metz and Dieu.
Yeah.
So Panthers should be cautious with Marseille. Maybe double chance for Marseille away to Lorient. But PSG should win this and win this convincingly.
Okay. I think the rest will just skip and then come to the cracker. Okay. Before then, we talk about Nice. OGC Nice are home to Lille.
OGC Nice are home to Lille. This should be a game of equals. Yes. Yeah. And then Nice having the slight advantage since they are playing at home. Yes. Lille are beginning to also pick up the pieces this season to remind us of the Lille of Eden Hazard. Okay, so it's a game of equals, but if there will be a winner in this one, OGC Nice should pick Lille for the win.
And then I think the match of the week there is Lyon at home to Monaco. Monaco have been very poor after the Mbappe them winning the league. After the season, they won the league and then they sold quite a number of their players. They haven't been the same again. I don't know what's wrong with them. Because they have money.
Exactly. The only bright thing about Monaco is their striker, Osami Benyada. When you take him aside, basically it's the name. Yes, on paper it looks like a big match, but quite frankly, if you have followed Monaco like you have said, this is not a big match. It is not a big match at all. It should be an easy win for Olympique Lyonnais. And let's not forget, Lyon are in some top form. Yes, they lost against City, but then again, who want to lose against City, right?
Yeah.
So Lyon are in top form. Memphis Depay is a very good form and all that. So I'm prepping them for the win for this one. The win. They'll beat
Serie A. Sassuolo, Torino, probably game of equals. Atalanta playing at home to Sampdoria. I think somewhere last season, Sampdoria started very well, but now I don't know what happened to them. Now Sampdoria is missing. And then, I don't know. I think this one, I foresee Atalanta just coolly chopping this one. And then Inter is going away to Genoa. And then Lazio at home to Bologna. Any so far?
I think Inter Milan going away to Genoa. Inter may just win it narrowly. So maybe a 2-1 scoreline will do. But Inter will win because they would have to respond with their disaster in the Champions League, their disaster of a performance in Champions League. They would have to respond away to Genoa. And Genoa are not an easy side, but then they would have to respond. Inter Milan would win this one narrowly. Atlanta, like we already said, I think what we are concerned about is not who wins, but how many goals that would appear in the match. So Atlanta win, and hopefully there'll be lots of goals because we know how Atlanta is. Lazio should also prosecute their game. Lazio would win at home. Yeah, I think which other one again?
So far, Fiorentina at home to Udine, and then Napoli going away to Benevento.
Fiorentina will beat Udine. Udine haven't been impressive for quite a long time now. Napoli should also be able to pick up the pieces and be able to beat Benevento away from home. So I tip a Napoli and a Fiorentina win in this one.
And the last batch is Juve at home to Verona. I think they should just coach up, and then probably the cracker for the weekend, Milan at home to Roma. Your views on that?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Juventus should be able to beat Chievo Verona, but I think they've suffered against Chievo Verona last 2 seasons, but they should be able to win this and win it, probably not convincingly, but narrowly. Let's not forget that CR7 is still out, right? Yeah. So goals wouldn't come easy. Yes, Morata is stepping up. Morata is scoring and all that, but you shouldn't expect too many goals from them. Then the cracker, like you said, AC Milan at San Siro, playing against the team from Rome, AS Roma. I think that AC Milan will win this. They will continue their from where they've started in their scintillating form. I think they will put Roma to the sword, but both teams will definitely score, given the attacking prowess of both teams. But AC Milan will win this game.
That's fine. We'll move on to one question on that. Do you think Juve will still win the league? Because it looks like they are not doing so well. And then Cristiano Ronaldo took another test. It is reported that he took another test and he has retested positive. Do you think it will have an effect on Juve this season?
The problem is with the Serie A is that it's not about how good Juve is. It's about how inconsistent the rest have been.
Yeah.
Because last season, had they had Lazio remained consistent, had Inter Milan also remained consistent, they would have won the league. But we all saw what happened towards the end.
Very true.
Inconsistent performance from them. And I think that is the problem with the Serie A. Yes, looking at Juve alone, they may not be good enough to win the league. But the question is, compared to who? Exactly. Because when you look at Juve and you now begin to compare them to Inter Milan are not consistent. You compare them to Lazio, not consistent already. Lazio have started poorly. It is AC Milan that have started really well, but do they have what it takes to finish off? I doubt so. So I think that Juventus would win the league again.
Okay, that's fine. Bundesliga. Not seeing any cracker here in Bundesliga except Bayern at home to Frankfurt. Frankfurt also plays an expansive game. It's going to be, end-to-end action. If Frankfurt are not careful, they might end up kicking 6 or 8 goals. They might end up shipping a lot of goals if they play their open expansive football. RB Leipzig are playing at home to Hertha Berlin.
You've nailed it right. You've nailed it right on the head.
Other matches.
Hello?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm here. RB Leipzig are playing at home to Hertha Berlin. And then Leverkusen to Augsburg, playing at home to Augsburg. And then Hoffenheim going away to Werder Bremen. Then Mainz are home to Mönchengladbach. I don't know, but all those look like matches we should probably concentrate on. The tough one, which probably hasn't been tough in recent times, is Dortmund are playing at home to Schalke. Any thought on that and any other pick?
As you have said, Schalke, you listen to the name and they are a powerhouse, but in recent times, Schalke have been a relegation battling team. They come to the season and what they do is try to battle to stay in the top flight. So yes, by name, Dortmund versus Schalke looks like a big match, but then it actually isn't in recent times. And I think Dortmund will win this one, especially on the back of a defeat at Lazio. They would come back to appease their fans by making sure they beat Schalke at Signal Iduna.
All right, that's fine. It looks like all the others are straightforward, so we'll just go to La Liga.
Oh yeah.
La Liga match week 7, I think. Let me look at all the others before we look at the cracker. Atletico Madrid are playing at home to Betis. I think Betis are doing very well this season. Sevilla playing at home to Eibar. And then Getafe and Granada, another tough one. Any thoughts on that, those ones so far?
Yes, I think that Atletico Betis will be an interesting one to watch because we all know how Betis play. They play very good football, but I think Atletico should have the quality enough to put after humiliation suffered at the Allianz Arena. They are coming back to the Wanda Metropolitano and would want to put smiles back on the faces of their fans. And again, to try and make doubters believe that yes, they should be counted as contenders for winning the La Liga because they started so well, but then they started raising eyebrows and people are beginning to doubt, are these guys really contenders? And I think this is an opportunity for Atletico, Simeone and his charges to come and bring them back into the conversation of the contenders for the La Liga this season. Getafe Granada, that's another match, another cracker. These are two teams in scintillating form, right? And these are two teams that play, yes, Granada play quite good football, but you know how physical Getafe can be. It will be a really interesting match to watch. And like I always say, for these sort of matches, there's a coin toss. You toss, whichever shows up will win. But then it looks more likely to be a drawn game. They'll share points and then
another team that has been inconsistent for ages is Athletic Bilbao. They are going away to Osasuna. I don't know if there is anything you can say about them. I mean, themselves and Villarreal as well. Villarreal is going away to Cadiz.
Well, like you rightly said, Atletico Bilbao have been inconsistent, and here they are going to Pamplona. Pamplona is really a difficult venue to go and play, given the pitch size and how it is. But thankfully, there are no fans, so maybe Atletico can try to, Athletic Bilbao can try to pull one over, but it won't be easy. Even though on paper they look like favorites, but because of their inconsistency, it makes it quite difficult to want to put the win on them. Right? But I think their worst would be a draw away at Pamplona. Right? The other match you spoke about was Villarreal going over to Cadiz. Yes, I think Cadiz are honeymooning right now in a fairy tale story. Yes, and they must be really feeling very good of themselves, having already gone to Estadio Santiago Bernabeu, persecuting Real Madrid. They've killed one giant. Another seemingly giant is coming. They would love to also add them to boost more confidence, to give their fans something to smile about, and to probably give themselves the tag of giant killers. But I think the run will come to an end this time around. VRL will go over at Cadiz, and we want to try to bring back their season alive. And one player to watch out for, it will be interesting to watch, is Takefuso, Takefuso, Kubo, player from Real Madrid. I think he's very exciting to watch, and I always love to watch him. So.
Okay, that's fine. And then we come to the cracker for the week. But just before you go into analysis, do you think this is perhaps one of the worst Clásicos in recent years, given the form, and not only the form, but the problems that both teams have gone through over the past season? When you look at Madrid, the issues about Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez, winning confusion between Zidane and the board about why he wants to ship them out. And then Barcelona too. I mean, the problem they had when Kiki Setien came in and all the issues, Messi trying to leave and all that. They've been in the wrong side of the news. Do you think it cast any shadow on the coming El Clasico? And then also, their form hasn't been too
good. I think it could be interesting and not interesting. And I'll explain. Do I think that is one of the worst Clásicos? Probably, maybe not the worst, but it should be in the list. And quite frankly, reports in Spain is that people are not really even talking about Clásico in Barcelona, right, and in Spain. And much is due to the reinsurgence of COVID, right, in European countries, right. So today, just today alone, over 200 people died out of COVID in Spain. So the attention that COVID is beginning to take in Europe and in Spain is also trying to steal the show a bit. So people are not hyping it. The usual noise about Clásico, we are not feeling it and all that amidst all these things. But then again, the things that also contribute to these are, as you said, these are two teams that are trying to transition. Barcelona are trying to transition from a very sloppy past season to something new where they are phasing old players out and trying to bring in new ones. From last season, Real Madrid also started their transition process. And in the midst, we have seen that there are challenges, and there have been challenges. And coming up to this one, Real Madrid are not in their best of forms. Yes, Barca looks slightly better as far as form is concerned, but Barca themselves are not also at the top level where they should be to make this Clásico a cracking one. But having said that, I said it will be and may not be interesting, because sometimes when teams that are performing so poorly play, it turns out to be interesting because they let in a lot of goals. Yes, they let in a lot of goals and all that. So yes, it may bring out an interesting match whereby poor defending would make viewers enjoy some goals and all that. But I think that Barcelona, for the benefit of playing at the Camp Nou and the evidence of things that we have seen so far, look slightly better than Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Yes. You look at Barcelona, and after every match, you see improvement, you see progress. Whereas when you look at Real Madrid, it looks like their transition is rather retrogressive.
Yeah.
Yes. So that makes it a bit difficult for Real Madrid. And I just hope and pray that Real Madrid will show up and try to react for the poor performances they have had. They will show up to react to try and appease their fans, but it is not looking good for Real Madrid. And if they play like they played against Cadiz, and they play like they played against Shakhtar, I think we may be revisiting the 5-0 trouncing given to them by Barcelona some seasons past. So basically does that. 2 p.m. tomorrow will be very interesting. Viewers would want to sit behind their screens, and just for so viewers may know, for those who do not have access to DSTV, I think GTV Sports Plus will also telecast it. So if you have your
that's fine.
channels, just set at home GTV Sports Plus and enjoy your classical at 2 p.m.
Okay. We will go through quickly. EPL. Tonight we have two of the Giants killers meeting. Aston Villa playing at home to Leeds United. Your thought on that? Two Giants
Aston Villa playing at Aston Villa playing at home to Leeds United would be very, very interesting. Interesting given the way Leeds United play. Even though they are playing away from home, going to Villa Park, we know teams coached by Marcelo Bielsa do not come and sit back because they are playing away from home. And we saw how they played at Anfield against Liverpool, and how they played against Man City, right? And I think they will go home with this. They will go to Villa Park with the same mentality to try to play Aston Villa. Aston Villa, on the other hand, have had a fairy tale beginning of the season where they have seen off Liverpool, they have seen off all the challenges that have come up against them. They've seen off Leicester convincingly. They've seen off all the challenges that have come against them. And Leeds will present to them another challenge. And playing at Villa Park, the likes of Jack Grealish will come to the fore, and it's going to be a very interesting match. I think that's one of the matches that is difficult to predict, right? Because given any day, any time, Leeds United can beat any team put before them. And Aston Villa have also shown that they are capable of beating anyone you put before them. And it will be interesting to watch. But Aston Villa, given the confidence boost that they have had after beating Liverpool, adding Leicester United, I think confidence is a bit on their side, and they are slight favorites for this one tonight.
All right, that's a nice one. Then tomorrow we have West Ham hosting Man City. I mean, it has been said. I mean, people have speculated that it looks like David Moyes has been the problem for West Ham, because when he was there, they weren't getting results. I think he tested positive for COVID. He was away. Then he started picking points, winning their matches. He came back over the weekend, and then, I mean, they almost lost. And then they had a last-minute gasp to draw 3-3. I don't know. This one, I probably see City probably winning.
Yes, I think, yes, like you rightly said, West Ham have been inconsistent, but the way they drew 3-3 was quite a confidence booster. But I think Manchester City would want to seize on the score lines that Liverpool are getting and try to put some wins under their belt. And this wouldn't be matches they would want to drop points, given that Liverpool have already lost. They've drawn, I think, twice, right? And this is an opportunity, because at the end of the day, the league will still be fought between Manchester City and Liverpool. And these are matches that Liverpool will want to win and win, so that going forward, they will stand a better chance of winning the league. So I tip Manchester City to go to Hammers and then win this particular match.
Okay. Liverpool at home to Sheffield, I think it's just a walkover. The other difficult one.
It's a formality.
Yeah, the other difficult one is Everton actually going away to Southampton without Richarlison. Your thoughts on that one?
Yes, like you have said, this looks to be a very difficult match for Everton, going away to St. Mary's to play Southampton. Southampton have been in some good form. They are playing really good football. they are playing the high line, and I think that may just play into the hands of Everton. As difficult as it is, I think Everton stand as slight favorites going away, even though they are going away. Yes, because I think without Richarlison, they still have, like we said last week, they and Tottenham are the teams that really have quality in certain positions. And I think that they would have a quality replacement. Yes, the person may not be in the mood of Richarlison because Richarlison offers a lot to the side. But the likes of Iwobi, the likes of what's his name? There is this Brazilian Bernard on their bench. Yes, he can come in and also do something. And even the coach, knowing Ancelotti, he may even try to change their shape. Instead of a 4-3-3, he may even go on with a 4-2-3-1 and let Calvert-Lewin be the sole man up front, especially going away to St. Mary's, to a Southampton side that loves to attack that place on the high line. Maybe he may just think of changing shape and then facing them. But like I said, Everton are slight favorites, and I think the worst for Everton at St. Mary's will be a draw.
That is fine. Moving on, I'll go to Arsenal playing at home to Leicester City. Leicester are coming into this one as wounded Lions. Then Wolves playing at home to Newcastle. I think Wolves to edge it a little over Newcastle. It's like Newcastle, they are back at where they belong now. They've started dropping points. Your thoughts on those two?
Yeah. Yes, I think Arsenal will add insult to injury. Leicester will further. You said they are wounded Lions. The Lion will further be wounded by Arsenal because I think Arsenal are looking really good and playing at the Emirates. I think Arsenal should be able to win this one. They should be able to beat Leicester. Yes, but we shouldn't write Leicester off. But I think this is a match that both teams will definitely score, but Arsenal will come up tops. Newcastle are beginning to go back to default settings. They are going back to where they are, and Wolves are also coming back to default settings. Wolves didn't start well, but in their past 2 or 3 games, they even saw Leeds United in their last game away from home, and I think that at home they have they have enough quality. Newcastle.
All right. Brighton are playing at home to West Brom. Another team that has been very unlucky this season, Brighton, they are playing wonderful football, but the results, Charlie, are not reflecting their performances. I really love how they play. They play expansive football. They play with energy. They play with intensity. And this midfielder has really shocked me. Is it Yves Bissouma? They have this midfielder, Bissouma. He's playing fantastic. People should keep an eye on him. He's been playing fantastic.
Bissouma, yeah.
The result hasn't been on their side. And then
the
other match is Burnley playing at home.
That's true. Yes, I think Brighton this week, luck will smile on them. Like you said, they've really been playing really scintillating football, expansive football. They are taking the risk, they are passing, they are holding on to the ball, playing from behind and attacking very well. And I think with time it will work. And I think the time is this weekend. Luck will smile upon them and they'll be able to win. But they should watch their defense. They are playing well, but they are also conceding goals. But I think this weekend should be a good one for them. I think Spurs are coming in as wounded Lions, having relinquished leads in this league this season. If my memory serves me right, they've relinquished 2 leagues. They played Newcastle. They were winning. Last minute, they drew. They played against this weekend. I think was it West Ham or was it? Who did they play against this weekend? That they eventually drew 3-3. Yes, they were winning, and then they lost it all over again. And I think as wounded Lions, knowing Mourinho, he's by now fixing his defense and putting his defense in order, because the question is not about can they score, but the question is about can they keep the opponent from scoring. And once they sort that out, Tottenham are going to be a really difficult side to beat or to play against. Once they sort their defense and the rate at which they concede goals, they have what it takes to score at any time, given the form of Stone, given the form of Harry Kane. Now you are throwing Gareth Bale in the mess. I think it's a lovely watch. The Spurs are going to win away from him at Burnley.
And I saved the best for last. Manchester United hosting Chelsea tomorrow.
Yes, Manchester United hosting Chelsea at the Old Trafford. Very interesting match. Manchester United, for their past 2 or 3 games, have really proven that, yes, things are beginning to show. But I think they will be missing some attacking players like Marshall and one other player. But then they have Cavani on the bench. And I think that this weekend we may see Cavani making his debut start for Manchester United. And on the back of going to Parc des Princes, going to see PSG, conquering them, they will feel really confident in themselves because they played against an attacking lineup that consisted of Mbappe, Neymar, and Angel Di Maria, and they were able to hold their own. So they will feel pretty much confident facing the likes of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, and Hakim Ziyech, Pulisic, and the likes. They'll feel really confident facing them, having done well against the attacking potency of PSG. And we know that, yes, Chelsea also managed to sort of sort out their defensive issues, having drawn against Sevilla over the midweek. So it will be very interesting to see. But I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has always had one over Frank Lampard, especially in the league. Last season, he had him for the beating. He beat him almost everywhere they met. And I think that is going on well for Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And so, given all these put together, I think Manchester United may start as slight favorites, but we shouldn't count Chelsea out. Chelsea may steal this one at the Old Trafford. But then, on paper, Manchester, given the results we have seen in their past 3 games, they look like the team that are really gelling right now, and they are in form, and they may beat Chelsea, especially at the Old Trafford.
Interesting. It promises to be an interesting one tomorrow. I don't actually know whether Manchester United are going to continue their sitting back and then hitting teams on the counter, or whether Chelsea are also going to be a bit reluctant to just open up and play, since they're also going away and their defense has been leaking of late. But it promises to surely be an interesting one. We'll move on to the next one, FPL. What are your top picks for the coming week, Fantasy Premier League? Keeper, probably a keeper that you're tipping. Defenders that you might be tipping, maybe 3 defenders that you tip. A midfielder, 3 midfielders and 3 attackers. Pick one.
Arsenal are playing at home to Leicester, right?
Yes.
Yes. So for a keeper, it will not be safe if you have an Arsenal keeper putting him there, because definitely they may be conceding, given the team they are going to play against. So I think that you may want to go for Wolves, the keeper of Wolves United. Wolves really relatively have so if I'm playing my fantasy, I'll have Patricio in my pool, and I'll have for defenders, I'll have De Donk, who plays for
Brighton.
Wolves, also in my team.
Okay.
Yes, I'll have Liverpool's right back, Trent Alexander in my team, and then I'll go in for Hector Bellerin.
Okay, yeah, Bellerin is playing very well. Definitely.
Because he's been really going forward this season. Yes, he's really been going forward this season. Yes, and if you want to add Castagne, who plays at right back for Leicester City, is really good going forward. But then the three I rely on are those I have said. They don't it skipped me. They don't Arnold and then
Bellerin.
Hector Bellerin.
Okay.
Yes.
Midfield.
Going to midfield, I'll definitely have Son there. I'll definitely have Kelvin De Bruyne there. I'll definitely have for cost wise, now that you have Son, you have Kelvin De Bruyne, you might be looking for a cheaper option to play. So the likes of Barnes of Leicester City can feel Podence. If you've really monitored him, the likes of Podence for Wolves, you can also consider Podence in there.
Okay.
And
don't
then,
worry, don't forget Salah is playing at home to Sheffield.
Yes, and then you may either pick between Salah or Mane.
Yeah.
Because of their prices, it's difficult to get the two. So pick one of them. And I think
I'm not too sure because Mane picked up a knock at Ajax, so I'm not really sure whether he will start.
That he may start. That's very true. So Salah will be the best bet. Yes. Yeah. So basically that's that. Going forward, if Aguero is always back, you can't count him
Default
out. Yes. So good thing for FPL managers. Aguero is fit, and I think he scored or assisted in the games he has played in after returning. So Kun Aguero will be one to look at. If you want cheaper options to join him, you can think of and don't forget about
Calvert-Lewin. Yeah.
Yes, Calvert-Lewin is in St. Yes, and the cheap option that can join them, Patrick Bamford or Mitrovic, or you can add Raul Jimenez, given that Wolves are also playing at home.
Yes, that's perfect. Anyway, viewers, it's been another interesting edition. We are delighted to have you. You did great. Thanks for joining us today. And then we hope to see you next time.
Always
a
pleasure.
All right. All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, folks, thank you for taking and staying with us through this edition of Footy Sports. Before we sign out, I want you to hit the subscribe button and then click on the notification button to be notified anytime we produce new content, so that you'll be notified automatically. Thank you for staying with us. If you are in Ghana watching this, and then you have any need for cakes and confectionery needs, I entreat you to patronize Super Bakes. They do the best of cakes, the best of pastries, the best of gift baskets. Cakes for all occasions, pastries for all occasions. They actually cook sumptuous meals as well. So look no further and contact them. You can follow them on Instagram on superbakes_gh. Same handle for Facebook. And you can contact them on 0249030649 or 024-227-0325. Viewers, thank you. It has been another interesting edition. Make sure to put all the tips down, and if you are trying to invest, see you again next time.